Yeah, yeah, uh, uh, yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown. Cruising down Peachtree in my Falcons gear. Pockets on the speakers, E-Man's here. Covering the news, all the buzz on the block. Fandemic family, yeah, we can't be stopped, yeah.
Rise up, Bird Gang Falcon fans. You are locked in to the Atlanta Falcons Fandemic, part of the Come On In Sports Network, the only show guaranteed to bring you all things, and I do mean all things, up-to-minute news, rumors, and analysis on our very own Atlanta Falcons. We break down the play calls, the personnel moves, the wins, the other games, all through the eyes of the true believer. I'm your host, your dedicated Falconologist, E-Man, the trusted voice for diehard Falcon fans who live and breathe this team. Guys, after an embarrassing loss, shutout. I mean, yes, literally, it was a shutout. The loss to the Panthers. The Falcons offense came alive in a must-win game. The Falcons were left for dead after a 30-0 beatdown, but they used that embarrassment as fuel to prepare for this week. We witnessed the incredible bounce-back performance against the Commanders, where career best days from Michael Penix Jr. and Bijan Robinson led to a statement victory. Today shows what this offense, or shall I say Sunday's game, showed what this offense is capable of. If anything changed, it was the ability that Zach Robinson offense were able to convert third downs, spread the offense, spread the field, engage everybody, spread the ball around. It was a big win nonetheless for us, especially coming off this tough week. Our guys showed tremendous resolve and heart. We talked all week long about getting back to playing our style of football, and I think we executed that today, particularly on offense. Michael Penix, he was under intense scrutiny after a disastrous game against the Panthers, but he responded with a career day. We're breaking down the film that shows how Penix's 313 passing yards and explosive connections with Drake London and Bijan Robinson exposed every weakness in Washington's defense. Tyler Algier continues to prove why he's such an asset to this team, to the run game. I especially like the part where he ran over both Bobby Wagner and Von Miller. You talk about crazy work. That's not easy to do. Those you talk about two of the best tacklers in the game, two of the best hitters in the game, and he ran them right over. It shows this is Algier, or shall I say, the Atlanta Falcons run game. It is their time. So after last week's performance, what clicked for Michael Penix today, Sunday? I mean, it seemed like he was a different quarterback. Penix was just flat out fantastic. The offense looked very effective in distributing the ball. He ran a balanced offense. He protected the ball better. Outside of that pick six, he showed great poise. He just looked more comfortable and relaxed. I mean, even after Eddie Goldman and Javon Kinlaw of Washington, they gave Jake Matthews and Matthew Bergeron all that they could handle on that side of the ball. But I'm going to show you guys some stats. While I go through this, we take a look at the offensive stats for that game, right? There was an incredible throw made that was thrown to Bijan Robinson out on a swing pass, and that got everything started. And that's the Mike Penix that we know, that confidence that us fans and the Falcons fans have in that the Falcons organization have in him. So we had to really show what we could do or put him in position to win. And I think Zach Robinson had to realize that. Yes, he is a rookie. He's going to make mistakes. But as an offensive coordinator, you have a rookie quarterback that you brought in to play in your system. You drafted him first round, 8th pick. So the reason you got him, or where you chose him and drafted him, is because he fit your system that you already have in place. So when you do that, things like that, you don't second guess yourself once he gets here. And either you change the offense or change the player. You stick with your guns and you stick to your offense. You stick with the quarterback that you decided you wanted to bring in to run your offense. And this is the result when you stick to your plans. I mean, he had a career day, 313 yards throwing, 12 yards on average, guys. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. That is a phenomenal day for Michael Penix. Bijan Robinson, 17 carries for 75 yards, 4.4 yards average carry, 1 touchdown. Tyler Algier, 16 carries, 51 yards, 3.2 yards per carry, and a touchdown. Guys, that's balanced running. I'm sorry, that's it. That's the stats for total yards this year. That wasn't for the Washington game. I'm sorry about that, but it was a balanced attack in the run game. No one guy. Now, even though Bijan went out, with I'm sorry, that is the stats for this game. But even though Bijan got most of his yards from catching, it was balanced attack. It kept the defense reeling. It kept them second guessing their moves on defense. Every snap, the defense had to really react to what we were doing. We didn't have to react, or should I say, Zach Robinson didn't have to react to what the defense was doing. We made the defense react to us, which gives us the upper hand. I don't care who we're playing, what defense we're playing. You get the defense to second guessing themselves, wondering what you got planned, you're winning the ball game. You're winning that attack, right? And that's what it all boils down to. As you look at the rest of the stats, Michael Penix had 4 yards. He had 4 carries, 2 yards. He even got on the bicycle and took off for a couple of yards. So he did real good. We're not looking for Michael Penix to be a Michael Vick 2.0, but when the opportunity is given to him, we expect Michael Penix to take advantage of it, right? And that's what we're looking for. Drake London, 8 receptions for 110 yards, 13-yard carry on average, 1 touchdown. Bijan Robinson, 4 receptions, 106 yards, guys. 26 yards on average on the reception. Now, guys, when you go one more column over after the touchdowns, you got the long pass, the long ball. 43 yards for Drake London, 69 yards for Bijan Robinson, 26 yards for Kyle Pitts, 19 yards for Casey Washington, 15 yards for Darnell Mooney. Do we guys see the contrast of what happened this game as opposed to last game against Carolina? Well, let's get right into it. You have this image here. This is the passes, the game passes from the Carolina game. You guys see how boxed in that is? How all the plays, all the throws were at most. There was one attempt up 20, at over 20 yards. There was one attempt, would end up being an incompletion. But that was just it. There was one attempt. Everything else was 10, 15 yards in. Right? So that means your offense is, you're not testing that arm of Michael Penix, which is what you brought him here for, what he is known for. So when you take a look at the next image, when you take a look at this next image, it's a total contrast from what we did against Carolina. Right? You see how the receivers stretch this field. Now, when you take a look at where the balls were thrown, right? And you go back to the other image of where the Carolina game image, if you pay attention, these are the exact same plays. This is Carolina. This is Washington. The exact same receivers, exact same routes. But they yielded different results only because we stretched the field. Instead of the receivers going 5, 10, 15 yards in, receivers started going 15, 20, 24 yards out for on their routes. So we stretched the field, and that made a huge difference. You stretch the defense. So Atlanta went in telling the defense, okay, if you're going to drop that safety back, guess what? We're going to make him work. So instead of 1 and 2 receivers trying to go in, 2 and 3 receivers going in short yardage, making it easy for the defense, we stretched the field, overworked that back safety, and was very successful. We should have did that against Carolina. We should have tested that against Carolina. But as you can see, 10% of the time, when I talk about route variation and play call variation, you can see what routes that they ran: a slot fade, a post, slot, screen, option routes, outside go, and the dig. That's player variation. And then you have the cross patterns, crossing routes from the receivers. That's variation. Now, last game, I didn't do the route running from last game, but the last game they performed those same routes, but they kept everything compacted into a box, which made it very easy for the defense to react. And Carolina was able to keep one back safety for safety measures. But once he saw that receiver or running back committed to the play, that safety made his mind real quick. And sometimes he cheated the play and actually came down into the box, making it very hard for our run game to get established, made it very hard for any short routes to be established and or get any production out of them. Right. So that was the big, huge difference from the offense and play calling from Carolina's game to the Washington game. Right. So, but speaking of quarterbacks, we're going to swap sides for a second. Speaking of quarterbacks, there's a difference in facing Marcus Mariota, given his history with the Falcons, versus preparing for Jaden Daniels. Mariota is an unpredictable, and he is still a dangerous player if he's allowed to sit in the pocket and or have time to use his legs. He's a veteran. He's smart. And he can still beat you with his legs. He showed that a few times on Sunday. You have to respect that part of his game. Our focus was to limit his scrambles and forcing him to be impatient. And we did that. Hats off to him. He managed the game well, with all things considering, for Washington, especially with all the injuries that they were dealing with. But the focus for us was to limit his impact on our defense, specifically the guys in the trenches that got around after him. Brandon Dorlus was beyond phenomenal, in my opinion. He kept the pressure on Mariota. He forced Mariota on several occasions to throw the ball away or cause passes to go uncaught. Now, Brandon Dorlus is a work in progress, but the way he played on Sunday tells me he's not far off from where he needs to be. No, he did not get a sack, but at the same time, he kept the pressure on Mariota. And several times, Mariota went the play resulted in either incompletion or Mariota had to get rid of the ball. Right. And that's all the thing. That's what our defense had to contend with. Now let's talk about injuries for a second, since I brought it up for Washington. But as for us, the update on injuries, we saw Darnell Mooney leave the third quarter for a hamstring injury prior to I forgot what quarter that was. But prior to his injury, Natron Brooks went down with a concussion. And to add insult to injury, Mike Ford also went down with an injury. All three of them were ruled out of the game immediately. They didn't return. And we still held it down. But now we are already without corner A.J. Terrell. Everyone was evaluated on Monday morning. And at the time of this video, I hadn't read an update as to a recovery date for them, return date, or the seriousness of their injuries. So I'm guessing or hoping that we'll hear something about tomorrow morning, and hopefully I'll get that update and I'll bring that forward to you too as well. But it was also good to see Felipe Franks, who was also injured during that game, return after having a scare with his arm. Don't remember what happened to him, but he hurt his arm, but he was able to return. For the Commanders, they just hurt all over the place, but they were already down several key starters like Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. That's a huge blow to their team. But they still fought hard. They were also without running back Austin Eckler and defensive end Dietrich Wise, wide receiver Noah Brown, tight end John Bates, and safeties Will Harris and Percy Butler. But this is all about next man up, right, guys? If we have to deal with it, so do our opponents. So, as expected, Falcons, we took advantage of the Washington misfortunes. The passing game philosophy worked whether it was going downfield or using Penix's cannon of an arm or taking advantage of what the defense was giving us in the short dump passes to Bijan. Either way, Zach Robinson play calling forced the Commanders to adjust their defensive plan on the fly. They didn't have time to prepare for it, resulting in us being able to utilize our deep threats and Bijan as we saw fit. We picked them apart. Like I said, Bijan had 106 yards receiving. So Drake London drew the attention, Darnell Mooney drew the attention when he was on the field, which left Bijan Robinson all open for the little short passes. We attacked Washington horizontally and vertically. So when they decided they wanted to come down and play into the box and cover Bijan, it was time to open up Drake London or Kyle Pitts. We set out to stretch out the defense at all three levels, and we did that. Strategic game plan by Zach Robinson. He has to keep this up. And this is where the consistency comes into play, right? He also has to get Casey Washington, David Sills, or even Cordell Hodge more involved. And now we're seeing that Darnell Mooney is out again with a hamstring. Well, I say again, he's out with an injury, but this time for a hamstring injury. So now it seems like Zach Robinson need to implement Casey Washington, David Sills, or Cordell Hodge, or even another one of the tight ends to cover the fact that we've lost Darnell Mooney for about a game or two. Hopefully, Darnell will be able to come back, rest up this bye week, and come back and be able to play. However, I can see the game plan being, even after the bye week, he sits out another week. And hopefully this is not one of those injuries that that's, what they say 3 to 4 weeks, type of injury for that hamstring. But hopefully this bye week will be all the rest that he needs to at least come back to practice. But like I said, I haven't received the update of how serious it is. So as soon as I get it, I'll pass that right on to you. But I do like how we've gotten Bijan Robinson more in the passing game. I didn't see that coming from Zach Robinson. But we kept 7 receivers on this roster for a reason. I like to see this passing game open up and get Penix going. Penix thrives off of throwing the ball, whether it be deep or short. He thrives off of it. Yes, we do have variation where we need to run the ball. We want to establish that run identity for our team. But Penix loves throwing the ball. But like I said, and you could tell from last Sunday, man, that the way he was throwing the ball, he was comfortable and he was effortlessly, and he didn't second guess. Now you notice in that Carolina game, and I did not count how many times he second guessed himself by patting the ball, by double clutching. This game, he made up his mind and he went, and it was successful. And that's the way we need to go. This is the type of offense. We have all kind of weapons. And the minute he starts second guessing himself, the minute he starts feeling uncomfortable back there in that pocket, mistakes are going to come. And he's a rookie. He's going to make mistakes, but we don't need to help him make mistakes, right? But as we move on to the defense, we turned in another solid performance. People say, well, they didn't do too well in Carolina. Carolina, they held up for as long as they could. Our defense held up for as long as they could in the Carolina game. So, and I'm just going to take that game and try my best to throw it out of my head, because on both sides of the ball, we didn't do what we were supposed to do. So it's a team loss. Bottom line, even though the coaches made a bunch of mistakes too, it's a team loss. But we came in with a solid performance against a very formidable NFC team that we were probably sure to see again if we are to go on win the division and go on to play into the conference, right? But we stepped up. We forced many mistakes from Marcus Mariota. The the name that was given to our rookies, the IASSes, or however you want to pronounce it, EYASSES, and that's the name of a baby falcon. I had to look it up myself, guys. I never heard of it. IASSes, EYASS, yeah, and those are what you call a baby falcons. They came through with a couple of plays of their own. You know, Xavier Watts with an INT of his own. Watts did a few rookie moments, had a few rookie moments as did James Pierce Jr. But they're all rookies. They're still learning. Hopefully those mistakes will become fewer and fewer as they gain more and more playing time, more experience. Jalen Walker kept the pressure on and sealed them with a few tackles. He made a couple mistakes himself, but like I said, this is no rookie is going to go mistake free. However, we win this battle. We win this battle because of the pressure that we brought on Marcus Mariota. And you see what this defense can be, and it will become that as long as Jeff Ulbrich sticks to his plan. And as I go through this, I want to bring up the defensive stats. And if you guys can see that, let's see, Leonard Floyd and Caden Ellis, both of they split a sack. Zach Robinson had the only game solo sack, which gives us a total of 2 sacks for the game. Quarterback hits, and this is important. Zach Robinson, Leonard Floyd again, Caden Ellis again, and like I said earlier, Brandon Dorless, Ruka, that whole front in the trench, they kept the pressure on Marcus Mariota as opposed to last game. This game we had 6 quarterback hits. Last game against Carolina, we only had 2. So it tells you what this defense can also become, this very young defense. We're probably the only defense that had the most rookies starting. I think we have 4 rookies that are starting for us. So to have them perform like the way they are now, it's phenomenal, guys. It's a lot to look forward to. I was on a show with A1, Big Low Country, and my ATL T Will over at my ATL Sports One. And a very important fact that was brought out was the fact that we only had the 2 quarterback hits against Carolina, right? And had the 6 hits in this game, which is huge. That's big. That's big. But this team will only get better. And another note that was brought out is this defense is actually performing better than the Grits Blitz, not in terms of points allowed, but in terms of yards allowed. We're actually trending lower yards allowed than the Grits Blitz. And you know, the Grits Blitz was, in my book, the best defense in NFL history. Now, we only did it for 1 season, right? But it was the best for that 1 season. They averaged 9 points a game. So when I say this defense is trending better than the Grits Blitz, shout out to A1 Chris who brought this out. A1 Chris Sports. He brought this out. And we actually we were like, wait a minute, what? We didn't believe it, but it's true. We are trending in yardage allowed better than the Grits Blitz, and that is phenomenal. And we're doing this with 4 rookies, right? Xavier Watts had an INT, like I said, in the end zone, and this happened in the 3rd quarter, right? I didn't count how many pass defenses that we had, but what's important is Marcus Mariota only had a 59.3 completion rate and a quarterback rating of 72 by the game end. That is phenomenal, guys. That is phenomenal. D. Alford and Mike Hughes started in place of the injured AJ Terrell, and for the most part, guys, they held it down. Wasn't perfect, but they held it down. I'm still second guessing. Well, let me just stop because we won this game. We won this game, right? As far as incompletion and forced turnovers, guys, 11. Marcus Mariota completed 16 of 27 attempts, 11 incompletions, coming from a basically new defense. I mean, that's something that you have to be overly optimistic about. Overly optimistic. Third down efficiency. The Falcons defense was effective in getting off the field, forcing a handful of punts and limiting Commanders to a time possession of just 25-45. I think our time of possession was, I think it was like 35 and something. I forgot what it was. Sorry, I didn't. But that just shows how good the defense was. We got off the field, right? We didn't allow them to turn third down, fourth downs into first downs. And that's the way you want to get it, right? But as you can see from the stats here, Jesse Bates went off. I didn't realize he had that many total tackles. He had 4 more that was solo. He didn't get a sack, but Xavier Watts, 6 tackles, 2 of them were solo, 1 interception. Then you had Caden Ellis. He had a phenomenal game as well. He's just been playing lights out since he got the starting position last year. Caden Ellis, 5 tackles, 3 of them solo. He recorded half a sack and 1 tackle for loss, all over the place. This steal that we got from the free agency, Divine Diablo, 5 tackles, 2 of them solo. 1 pass defended. He had a phenomenal game. Mike Hughes, 4 total tackles, 4 solo tackles, 1 pass defended. David Onyemata, 4 total tackles, 2 solo tackles. Leonard Floyd, 4 total tackles, 1 solo, a half a sack, and 1 tackle for loss. As you can see what this thing is, how this thing is going, guys. Billy Bowman, 3 total tackles, 3 solo tackles. D'Angelo Malone, 3 tackles, total tackles, 1 solo. Felipe Franks. And some of us have clowned Felipe for even coming back to the Falcons, but you see he's become an asset, right? Felipe Franks was 2 total tackles, 1 solo tackle. Jalen Walker, 2 total tackles, 1 solo tackle, and 1 quarterback hit. So as you can see, guys, even Drake London had a tackle. Zach Harrison had 1 tackle, 1 solo tackle. Mike Floyd had 2 tackles. Let's see who else. Brandon Dorless had 1 tackle, 1 tackle, solo tackle, and 1 tackle for loss. He kept the pressure up. His stat does not indicate how well he played. He kept the pressure up, guys. Believe me, I watched him. Ruka Rohoro had 1 total tackle. That's it. But guys, just like the offense, where it was total team effort, it was the same thing on the defense. And this is what we're looking for. This is why this team was built like this. This is crazy work from our defense, guys. Our very young defense at that. So, and for a defense like this to become the type of defense that we have now, it took a guy like Jeff Albrecht to come in and do it. Who's obviously was good enough to be a head coach, but he decided that he liked being with that defense, so he took a job as a defensive coordinator. I mean, that's where he came from. That's where his roots are, creating swarming defenses. He also has the ability to create Pro Bowl players out of no-name guys, and he did that with the Jets. I don't know if you guys remember that. Now, as we move on to another area, special teams, guys, this year, second special teams have become suspect, to be honest with you. We need a little work. They're not bad, but we need a little work. But one thing for sure, Atlanta has always been known to have a solid special teams. Not spectacular, but solid, right? So we could use a little work. And now that Natron Brooks is hurt, Mike Ford is hurt, we need to rely on guys like Xavier Watts, who else that can field kicks, that can come in and fill the void, and increase the production in special teams. One other area that we improved on in the game in Washington, that we were able to get in the red zone consistently. And prior to last week, our percentage of getting into the red zone and scoring a touchdown was 28.6, which is number 31st in the league. We're not good at all in the red zone. It has been our Achilles heel even before Matt Ryan. So if that increases, guys, we're going to win some games. If that increases, we're going to go into or should I say go into, we're going to play Buffalo Bills like we need to win the game, right? So, guys, that is my take on the recap, shall I say, on the Washington Commanders game. The Falcons won that game 34-27. It's a very good win for us. Hopefully we can build off that momentum, and we will. I think we will. And welcome the Buffalo Bills to Atlanta. And hopefully Zach Robinson can realize what he has in this defense, in this offense, and knows that he can actually have some fun with this thing, like Shanahan did. Shanahan had some fun, right? But he made one critical bad mistake. Hopefully, the bad mistakes that Zach Robinson has made so far is a thing of the past. He made them. We move on, and we become the team that everyone has predicted us to be. That move down to the sideline, I don't think it was necessary, but he needed to be down there for communication purposes, right? He needed to be able to look his quarterback in the eye and say, "Hey, man, what do you see out there? Talk to me." As opposed to having communication levels with problems with his helmet, and and talking that way. At least at that point, being down on the field, you got the pad right there in front of you. Both of you looking at it. Both of you can hear each other thoroughly, not with no hiccups, and you can go over the pad together, as opposed to saying, "Hey, do you see this happening on the pad?" Looking up at the booth, talking through the headset. It's a totally different ball game, guys. Trust me. It's not. It's different. But hopefully that part is behind us. But I don't know if you guys paid attention to it, that Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson were side by side through the whole game against Washington. Now that's what happens when you're about to hold accountability, right? When it comes down to it, as a head coach, you have to step in. You want your coaches to be able to handle their jobs, right? But when it gets to the point like us losing to Carolina, 0-2 team, and shouts out to it to Carolina. They did their thing. They came in, got the win. Should I say came in? They went into the game and got their win. Hey, we fell short. They won. They took advantage of it, right? But as a head coach, when your team get in those stressful type situations, you have to make a move. Not saying that move that he made correct and firing Ike Hilliard was the move. I seriously don't think so. I'm not going to talk about that because it's already been done. It's done with. But as a head coach, you have to step in. We already know Raheem Morris is not going to get fired. We're already still paying Arthur Smith. If we fire Raheem Morris, we're going to have to keep paying him too, as well as the new head coach. So he's not going anywhere. So there are only two more positions. If anybody gets fired or moves, that's going to happen. Special teams coach, offensive coordinator. So what Raheem Morris do to his friend? Hey, get out of the booth, come down here on my side, right? So that adjustment had to be made. And it's one that hopefully will catapult us to an offense that's going to be unstoppable, right? Because we know what we have. On paper, we know what we have. What we saw in spring training and minicamp, we know what we have. What we saw the last 4 games of last season, we know what we have. Michael Penix is that guy. Michael Penix is that guy. Yes, Michael Penix did have a bad game, right? But it's up to that offensive coordinator to put his franchise quarterback in a position to win. You have to call the plays that allows your first round draft pick, 8th pick, to get put in a position to win. Right? That's what it's all about. You're the offensive coordinator. You orchestrate. Yes, your quarterback is on the field. He's orchestrating on the field, but guess what? You're actually like the guy pulling the strings. So continue to put him in position to win. We have all the weapons in the world. We even have 2 tight ends that are actually 3. If you use them, will actually become secret weapons for us. Because as of right now, because they weren't being used last year, they're not being used thus far. We can actually sneak into game, let's just say week 8, 9, 10, and start using our tight ends and have a defense that keeps everybody reeling on their heels. Defenses will actually have to play us heads up and honest. there will be no bird dogging the quarterback, which opens the game up for Michael Penix even more. They already can't stop. Excuse me. They already cannot stop Bijan Robinson, or and we saw that. So just think if we spread the field, Bijan in the slot, Drake London at the wide, and on the other side at the split is Darnell Mooney or whoever you have out there. That's taking the three corners and a safety right there. And then you got the free safety who's decided he wants to back up because he see you got the offense spread. So you're going to bring that strong safety down in the box just in case you try to dump off a short pass. So that means you can't rush no more than about maybe 3 or 4 if you decide to bring that other edge or that defensive end. That's spreading your defense kind of thin. So that means your defense will have to play honest, heads up almost, which is going to leave room for Michael Penix to do just a little bit with his legs, if possible, if need to. I'm sure he'd rather throw the ball, but just in case, if the decision came down to it, Michael Penix will be able to make a couple of moves with his legs. But guys, the offense that we have today with the 7 or 8 wide receivers, the 3 tight ends. When I say those tight ends, I'm talking about Charlie Warner, Teagan, I can't pronounce his last name. Y'all know who he is. And even Felipe Franks, who can catch a pass or two. Some of you may not disagree, some of you may not agree, but for the most part, if you throw that ball to Felipe, he will catch that ball. Even when he was here, you guys cannot remember many times where he did not catch that ball. Now, he may not have gotten the yards after the catch, but he will catch the ball. He's become that type of tight end. He's become that type of blocker, surprisingly enough. But Charlie Warner and Teagan are definitely those guys that we can actually use. Yes, they are blocking guys for us, but they did the same thing. Charlie Warner did it in San Francisco. Teagan did it over at, I think it was Tennessee or Houston, one of the two. But both of those guys are very capable of 400, 500, 600 yards a year. They did it already. They have done it. So if we can use those tight ends like they have been used before, there's no telling what this offense can become. I mean, we can still keep Kyle Pitts as tight end, but I would line him up in the slot like we did when he in his rookie season. I would line him up in the slot if it came down to it. I would actually put him on the side over there with Jake Matthews, line Kyle Pitts up in the slot, put Charlie Warner over there on that other side. And if need be, Charlie Warner can come out of the backfield, either as another blocker or a pass catcher. There's so many ways we can use Charlie to get the defenses unbalanced. And Kyle Pitts is the unicorn that makes the imbalance possible. And I say unicorn because if truth be told, he's too big for cornerbacks and too fast for most linebackers. And from what I've been told, he's doing all this with a turf toe. Guys, that's not easy. Remember that turf toe is what did in Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders' career started failing once that turf toe started happening. And this is what Kyle Pitts, if this is true, this is what Kyle Pitts is playing with. So hopefully Zach Robinson can start figuring out what he can do with this offense and start having some fun. Because I'll guarantee you, any offensive coordinator in this league would love to have this team, this offensive, these weapons with a quarterback like Michael Penix. Even if it's not a good quarterback, you have this many weapons. An offensive coordinator can come in. I'm not gonna say any coordinator, but you guys got any coordinator that knows what they're doing can come in and make something of this offense. So Zach Robinson has to figure that out. it's a learning curve for Zach Robinson. So he has to. He has to hurry and get it in gear because this team here is fast. So his play calling has to be even faster. So, but guys, that's my breakdown of the game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing this one. Far from last week, guys, we won this one. So, and as always, we always like a good win, no matter whether by 1 point or 30 points. We like a win. We like talking about a win. So, but guys, we're going into a bye week. We got to get ready for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Stay tuned for that video because that video is coming next. But Josh Allen is a unicorn in his own right. So we have to prepare for him, and hopefully everybody get their rest that they need. Everybody gets healed up. Hopefully we can get Darnell Mooney back and Mike Ford, or we'll get everybody back. But I know Natron won't be back. He had a concussion, so it's almost a 2-week thing for the concussion. So, but we're gonna hold it down, guys, and get in here and get prepared for Josh Allen because the Bills are beatable. Although they are Goliath, we are David, and they are beatable. So stay tuned for that next video, guys. It's going to be enlightening. Like always, guys, I appreciate all the support, all the likes, the comments. But keep subscribing. I surely appreciate you, each and every one of you. And as always, guys, we continue to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your boy E-Man. Falcons Fandemic, we on that plan. All the hype in the city, let me break it down. Atlanta Falcons, wear the crown.